Hello, students. Today we're going to start our new anchor text titled A Question of Yams. This is Chapter 1, Waiting. Before we begin reading, I want us to think about the essential question or the main question that we'll be focusing on while we read. And the question is, how can understanding the spiritual journey of Christians influence my own walk with God? So, what this question is asking is, how can we look at other people's journeys or other people's walk with God? And how can that have an impact on my walk with God? Another thing I want us to focus on is the big idea. And the big idea of this lesson is that God's love for us is revealed by his presence throughout our Christian journey. So, God's love for us, we see that by all the times he's there for us. Okay? When we read, I want us to think about a couple of things and to remember a few things. The first thing I want us to think about is the spiritual journey of the main characters. While we read, we want to pay attention to how their relationship with God develops over time. I also want us to think about how their characters and their experiences can help them in their walk with God. There are things that happen in our lives that can bring us closer to God, or sometimes might make us feel further away from Him. So think about how the characters and all of the things that they go through can help them in their walk with God. And lastly, I want us to remember that asking and answering questions is one of the best ways we can check for understanding while we read. This will be part of your activity that you complete while reading today's chapter. Let's go ahead and review your directions. What you need. Please make sure that you have a pencil, 3 post-it notes, a pair of headphones, and your computer. What you're going to do. You're going to follow along as I read chapter 1. On each post it note, write one question you have about the story. Pause the video if you need time to write your questions. Let's go ahead and begin our chapter. Chapter 1, Waiting. Curry ran down the path, his bare feet quick and light. He crossed a wide stream by leaping from stone to stone. Then he followed the path halfway up a hill, turned, and ducked into the bushes. Just a few steps into the jungle stood his favorite rock. He scrambled up onto its rough gray top. Thick bushes grew on all sides, and branches hung low over it. He was hidden here, as hidden as a possum in the treetops. From the rock, he could see the path and past it to his family's garden. The mounds of brown earth in the garden were ready for planting. Father would be here soon. All he had to do was wait. A breeze stirred the nearby leaves. Parrots called to each other from the trees that arched above him. But Curry kept his eyes on the path. Was Father really going to plant the garden without praying to the spirits? He had never done such a thing before. Maybe it was because of the missionaries. Father had been helping the missionaries with their work. Maybe he had listened too much to their talk. Curry craned his neck to look down the path. He ducked back. Father was coming with the yams. He peered through the leaves again. Father had reached the garden, but 3 men followed close behind him. The head men! What were they so angry about? They stood in the garden, muttering to each other. Then one named Sakoso spoke up. He had gray hair and a loud voice. You must pray to the spirits before you plant the yams. If you don't, you'll be sorry. Father put the yams down on the ground and began to dig with his stick. Sakoso glared at him. Something bad will happen to your garden. Wait and see. Curry shivered in his hiding place. But Father did not seem afraid. I will not beg the spirits for help, he said. I will trust the mighty God, and I will plant our yams in the name of Jesus Christ. He bowed his head, and Curry knew that his father was praying to God. The head men stared at Father. They turned and went back up the path. Curry stayed on the rock to think for a while. Last year, Father had often prayed to the spirits, but one day 2 missionary ladies came to live near their village. We want to learn your language, the missionaries said to Father. So Father began helping them with words. What is this? The ladies would ask. What is that? And Father would tell them the right word to say. The missionaries read to Father from God's carving. They said it was full of God's talk. Father began to tell Curry about the word in God's carving. Behold, God is mighty, Father said over and over. It was the part of God's carving that he liked best. After a while, Father stopped praying to the spirits. Curry didn't know if that was good or not. The headmen wanted everyone to pray to the spirits. The spirits were powerful, and the headmen knew how to please him. But Father said he would trust in God, not the spirits. Curry shook his head. How strong was Father's God? Now that we've read chapter 1, you're going to answer some comprehension questions, or questions that help me know you know what happened in today's reading. Question number 1. Why was Curry waiting in the garden for his father? Question number 2. Who were the men who followed Father? Question number 3. Why were the headmen angry at Father? Question number 4. How was Father helping the 2 missionary women? Question number 5. Why did the missionaries want to learn the language of the villagers? Question number 6. What did Father stop doing after he started helping the missionaries learn his language? Great work today, guys. Keep it up.